Hey, my name is Shelley DePaul, and I am a Lenape Native American. I'm the Assistant Chief of the Lenape Nation of Pennsylvania. Some of you are aware of the Lenape Nation. Spent a lot of time with you on the river. 7 minutes, huh? Okay. Well, I have so many river stories that it's difficult to know where to begin. But I would like to begin by just talking a little bit about the history of the Native Americans who lived in this area, the Lenape people. The Delaware River is sacred to our people. We've lived here for 13,000 years, going up and down this river. The river is more than a river, it's alive. We have a word that means all our relations, and that refers to the winged ones, the creepy crawlers, the sea creatures, the plant people, all of the fire, water, earth, and air. So the river to us, when we're out there, is a living thing, which includes many other living things. Historically, there are many sacred places on the river, but Easton was the site of our council fires, because the forks here of the Lehigh and the Delaware River were a very sacred place. And as far as we can remember, our council fires were held here between many tribes. They would come here to hold their councils. Another extremely sacred place is the Delaware Water Gap. And for the Muncie clan of the Delaware people, the Delaware Water Gap, the creation story comes from Cold Air Cave there. So that area of the river has been so sacred throughout history that no one has ever passed through there without a Lenape escort on pain of death throughout history. So we still honor that tradition when we go down the river, and if I have time I'll talk a little bit about the river journey that the Lenape Nation does. And whenever we go through the gap, we do an honor song, we say our prayer, we give tobacco, and the Lenape lead through that section of the river. So just so you know, because I know many of you are on the river a lot, when you go through those two sections, you may just want to honor the people who came before you on the river. Our people traveled the river. In the spring, they would paddle all the way down in their dugouts, big boats, to the Jersey Shore to gather clams. And then they paddle all the way back upstream to bring them back. So there's a lot of history I could cover. I just wanted to cover a little bit, and I just wanted to share with you how long our people have been here and how sacred the river is to us. It's a brother, it's a sister, it's a mother. So I just wanted to share a real short story about my own personal experience with the river. Each of us in our tribe has a specific area that we work on, and mine happens to be the language, revitalizing our endangered language. We only have 3 speakers left in our tribe, so it's a very important thing. When you go to an elder, if you're a Native American, and ask them for guidance or help, they won't tell you what to do. They won't give you guidance. They'll tell you one of 2 things. They'll either tell you a long story, which you sit there wondering what that had to do with anything you were asking them to help you with, and you may figure out later that the story did have a lesson. You might figure it out 10 years later or 20 years later. Or the other thing they will say is go to the woods. And that also means for many of our people, go to the river. The river is part of the woods. Meaning that you gotta work things out for yourself. And you need the quiet and you need the silence to do that. Well, my own personal experience was, I was a graduate student working on my history degree, and I had always been fascinated with Irish culture. And I was doing my history thesis on Ireland. And I've always loved languages, I've always been attracted to them. So I thought, well, I'm doing my thesis on Sinn Féin and Irish history, so I should learn Gaelic. So I was studying Gaelic, and I was learning it, and I was wondering how I was going to get to Dublin to get the primary sources that I needed to finish my thesis. And I was out on the river one day, as I was on many days, and it was a very quiet day, and I was also working out some personal issues. And I was, kind of thinking Gaelic, and all of a sudden, the water was there in front of me, and it seemed to be speaking and coming alive, which it will do if you're out there long enough and you listen and you're quiet enough. Everything will, the trees, the birds, everything will speak. You just have to watch. Dave and Jane can tell you how many times going down that river we weren't quite sure which way to go, and hawk would fly overhead, we go that way. And it was usually the right way. But all of a sudden I'm looking at the trees and they seem to be talking to me. And I'm looking at the rocks, and it was as if all of a sudden, just like that, everything woke up to me and said, why aren't you learning your own language? We have not been called by our names for thousands and thousands of years. Why aren't you speaking these words? And it just happened like that one day. And all of a sudden I wondered, what is my word for tree? What is my word for river? And it was an incredible experience. And from that day on, I dropped Gaelic. And that was about a long time ago, 25 years ago, at least. And so that's when I began learning the language, and it was a difficult thing. It's hard to put together. There were just fragments of it in many different places. I could spend a long time telling you how long it took to do that. But the Lenape also believe that you must be on your path in life. In fact, it's the elder's job to watch the young ones and to look at them and say, oh, future chief, oh, auto mechanic, oh, whatever. And if you are, you don't worry about money, you don't worry about anything, because the path will lay out before you and everything you need will come to you. That's a very serious belief of ours. And from the moment that I stepped on that path of the language, I was obsessed with it. And I wanted to teach it to our people, and being a teacher, I was able to put it into an easier form than many of the dictionaries are, where people can't understand it very well. And I just did that for years. I worked on it for free, put out lessons on the language and audio, and you know, just spent lots of time on it. And all of a sudden, we had connections with the University of Pennsylvania, and they invited me to an Indigenous Languages conference there, and there was a Swarthmore professor there who invited me to come and teach the language at Swarthmore. And it's just blossomed and blossomed. Last year I was awarded a DEL fellowship to continue to work on the language. I never expected this. I never wanted it, okay? But it all started that day on the river when I had the time to be quiet and to listen and to decide. So spending some quiet time out there, if you need guidance, go to the river, go to the woods and listen. As my chief says, watch which way the ants are going, or you know, watch what kind of animal keeps popping up. That's your spirit animal. So many things that you can learn out there. That's my one personal story. I just wanted to end by letting you know a little bit about the Lenape Nation of Pennsylvania. So many fortuitous things have happened. You know the history of the Native Americans, but we've pretty much come full circle now. And we've partnered with so many wonderful people. The Lenape, of course, don't believe in owning land. They think of themselves as caretakers. And we are caretakers of the river. In 2002, we got an idea that we would like to travel the river from Hancock all the way down to Cape May, and that we would like to sign a treaty, the first treaty that's been signed between the Lenape people and the people of Pennsylvania in over 300 years. And we did that. And along the way, we met many other caretakers of the river who also wanted to work. And so they signed a treaty. And we decided that we would do it every 4 years after that, which we have continued to do. The first year we had 19 signers, organizations all the way down the river, Delaware Highlands Conservancy, Shawnee Preservation Society, you know a lot of these people, Delaware River Keepers, Audubon societies, churches, all kinds of people that wanted to help. We did it again in 2006. We got more organizations to sign with us. And then we did it again in 2010. And now we have over 50 organizations and over 150 individuals that are working with us to preserve the river. So many that it's hard to keep up with them all, but I try very much. And it's just an amazing thing how things have come full circle and how many wonderful people are out there working on the river and preserving. And this latest victory with the no fracking is just, I couldn't believe it. I had chills all day long. We did it. And so really that's all I have to say. I brought my drum because we always sing, and I was going to play the river song. And do you want to sing? Quick song? Okay. I'm loud. This is the river song. We'll do 4 rounds of it. The song, the words words are simply the river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother, carry me, a child I will always be. Mother, carry me down to the sea. We'll just do 4 rounds of it. You'll catch on and sing along. And those of you who know it, sing with me. The river